Hello, my fellow Info Warriors. Alex Jones here with a special report that we're sending via email directly to subscribers to our free newsletter, the InfoWars Insider. If someone has forwarded you this report and you'd like to get future reports that we send out at least once a week, we're going to start sending these out basically every day in the near future. You can simply go to Infowars.com, and on the right-hand corner of the page, you'll see a banner that says InfoWars Insider, and you can just enter your email address there if you wish to get these video reports and text reports. Now, tomorrow, we're going to have a special report that I'm going to air on the radio and stream at prisonplanet.tv that'll also be copied over to our YouTube channel that is of the greatest importance. And I shot this report in the last few days, and it's basically complete right now. We're just adding news articles and more research. And there was one area that I meant to get into in that report that isn't going to be in the report, so I'm going to cover that now. But first, I want to give you an overview of why I'm making a big deal about this, because in my view, it's the biggest deal. It is the biggest threat to the human species and to humankind in my research, and that is uncontrolled genetic engineering. I don't normally make a video about a report that's about to come out. I just released the report, but I cannot find words to describe how grave a position we are in as a species. We have death-loving, degenerate, psychopathic globalists who are in control because they're ruthless and murderous and cunning, but also because we've been naive and we have shirked our responsibility and lived in denial. Now, what is the big issue I'm talking about specifically with genetic engineering? The Australian, British, and Canadian newspapers in the last 4 or 5 days ran the headlines like this Daily Mail article titled 150 human-animal hybrids grown in UK labs. Embryos have been produced secretly for the past 3 years. And immediately upon reading this about crossing humans with different insect, animal, reptile genes and implanting human embryos, clones, cross-species creatures inside the uteruses of cows for organ harvesting later. When I saw this article, here's the caveat, I remembered that I have seen this countless times before. Going back 15 years ago, I saw BBC reports and others that said human embryos cloned. Well, that's a politically correct way of saying humans cloned. But they get away with saying it doesn't violate human rights by saying, well, they're babies. They're little embryos, and we terminate them before they grow to too large a size. And so that's how they always have new articles every year saying 3 years ago, secretly in labs in Costa Rica, or 5 years ago, secretly in labs in South Korea, or 5 years ago in labs in Canada, or 3 years ago in labs in England. So for at least 15 years, they've been saying 3 years ago or 5 years ago. It varies, but it's always 3 or 5. In fact, back in 1996, that was in the BBC. It said, well, they didn't want to scare the public, but for 5 years, they first cloned human embryos in England. And then they have a debate about, are they human? Do they have rights? And then I saw articles over the years, going back even a decade ago, well, we're mixing other animals' genes with these clones, so they don't have rights because they're not human. This is like H.G. Wells' The Island of Dr. Moreau. He also wrote books close to 100 years ago about atomic weapons, 40-something years before they were developed. So it's pretty clear, he was part of the Futurist Society and things, that there's a lot of technologies that have been suppressed. And if we are hearing in the last 15 years about secret cloning projects and crossing humans and animals, imagine what we're not hearing about. A lot of the experts we've talked to believe this has been going on for decades, earlier than we're told. The Nazis reportedly, a lot of reputable research shows, were able to clone rabbits. And speaking of rabbits, just to illustrate my point about this Daily Mail article, about 3 years ago, or more than 3 years ago, more than 150 human-animal hybrids were created. I wanted to pull up this ABI Medical Commentaries article. This is from Brisbane, Courier Mail originally published it. Human rabbit clone announced and no nose twitch. I guess because rabbits twitch their nose. So they just make a joke, and it says Chinese scientists have created hundreds of human rabbit hybrid embryos, the world's leading science journal, Nature, announced last week. So, we're being told this just happened secretly in the last 3 years by the Daily Mail, and this was on July 25th. And then here's one from 8 years ago, 2003, in the Courier Mail. And I've got a bunch of other examples of this. Here's one from 3 years ago, 2008, April 2nd. We have created human-animal embryos already, say British team. And then they go on and say this has been going on for a long time. And this is from, again, April 2nd, 2008. And that is the Times of London. Here's another one. Now, here's the point I'm not going to make in the special report coming out tomorrow that we're begging folks to get and get out to everybody. And it's going to be, again, on the YouTube channel, so it has the maximum viral spread to try to at least cause some type of sane debate about this. This is from CBS News several years ago, February 11, 2009, my birthday, and it says, Eve, first human clone. And it just gets into saying, Eve was cloned from man. And then they've got other articles talking about the Raelian cult led by a guy that looks like Ronald McDonald out of France, who say that the aliens made humans and they're all going to live forever because they're clones. And the media covered that, and they're hoaxing, saying that they'd hired scientists to create cloned babies, that they were the first to clone, to then discredit that cloning's going on. All the scientific journals admit it is going on, and mixing humans with animals. I mean, this is nightmarish stuff. And then meanwhile, there's always this backdrop with the general public. Because when I talk about cloning going on, I get emails going, that's been discredited with a link to the Raelians. We're not talking about the Ronald McDonald lookalike and the Raelian cult, okay? We're talking about the Journal of Nature. We're talking about the Times of London. We're talking about the Daily Mail. We're talking about Chinese government announcements, Courier Mail, okay? So this is really going on. They did the same thing with cold fusion. Back in the early 90s saying, oh, these scientists ran a hoax, a mayonnaise jar, And then meanwhile, there have been tens of thousands of confirmed cold fusion experiments before that and since, where major universities have confirmed, yes, it does work. We don't really know how to capture the energy, and it doesn't create a lot of energy on the scales they've done, but it's real. So basically, they bring out stories to claim that they're a hoax, just in the public's mind, so folks kind of stay in what Alan Watt called this antique reality, this kind of frozen reality where we think we're on the cutting edge, but really compared to what the technological superstructure has created, we're in the Flintstones era here. So you've got this breakaway technocracy that is getting the life extension technologies and the gene therapies, and then we're just given the garbage. And there's no doubt that that's going on. There's no doubt that 20 years after the stealth bomber was already in service, they rolled it out in the late 80s. There's no doubt that they're still telling us the SR-71 Blackbird, built in 54, in service by 59, reportedly can go like Mach 5 or faster, and is really a space plane. It can fly to the edge of space. They still tell us that's the fastest aircraft in the world. I mean, do you really believe that? And you saw the whole bin Laden murder thing, killing, assassination deal with the weird-looking space helicopter that crashed. I mean, we're not in Kansas anymore, as I like to say. So I think this is bigger than the NFL not shutting down. I know that was one of the biggest news items in the last week, and reportedly got 400 times the searches on Google than debt ceiling. People have really got their priorities screwed up, and that's been done by design. The fact that they're splicing humans and animals really destroys the dignity of humanity. And it also can give rise to cross-species zoological diseases getting into humans, and the GMO crops we're eating are being engineered to sterilize the population. We have the documents on that. I mean, this is heavy stuff. We're living in a compressed, stagnant, false, artificial habitat. We are living in a controlled, almost matrix-like system, being fed pure propaganda and slow-killed, and it's time we talk about it. So thank you for watching this special Infowars.com Insider Report, and please share this email video with everybody you know, and the text article that Kurt Nemos put together today dealing with the rollout of the new branding of white Al-Qaeda, as we predicted, with the whole very fishy event in Oslo, Norway. Again, I'm Alex Jones reporting from the front lines of the InfoWar. Thank you for watching.